Ladies and gentlemen, pull out your hair ties. It's time to let your hair down and truly get funky.
Welcome to All That's Hair, a podcast that will explore the business of beauty from the origins of the art of hairdressing to how hair salons have evolved to meet the changing ideal of beauty. We'll talk about the challenges hairdressers and salon owners alike face in the 21st century with some historical context and a vision for a better beauty industry. I'm joined today once more by father and son duo Leonardo and Marco Redavid. Hello, guys.
Hey, Ken. How are you?
I'm doing
nice
pretty
to
good.
see you.
Good,
Yeah.
good. I'm excited for today.
Yes, this topic is something that, Leo, you can talk to a lot. And here for episode 4, we're going to be talking about winning or losing in the salon chair. And to start out, I thought I'd give you guys some interesting facts and figures, one of which I know is Marco's kind of aha moment, which is a study that was done a few years ago I told him about. So back in 2013, the Telegraph newspaper did a study on the salon industry that revealed some really shocking facts about customer loyalty. And it showed that the average length of time a woman will stay with the same hairdresser is 12.4 years. For context, here in the United States, the average marriage length is 8 years.
Wow. So how come your marriages didn't last longer, Dad? You're a hairdresser too.
Oh, yeah.
That is one of my favorite stats. I love it because it just goes to show how important that relationship with your hairdresser is.
Oh, yeah.
And it really is about a relationship. It's not even necessarily about a service at times. It's about that bond that's built, and somebody that has such an important piece of the puzzle in your life, making you feel beautiful, making you feel like yourself. And they grow through everything. I remember you telling me, you've seen customers go through, marriages, divorces, kids, different jobs, and it's constant. You kind of grow with them.
Well, they become family.
Yeah.
They're part of you, and their stories when they come in, and you just love them, and you just go with the flow with them.
Yeah.
It's fun.
More than half of women rank their hairdresser in the top 10 most important people in their lives.
Right? Now I know why they liked me.
Oh, yeah. No kidding. That's awesome.
It takes the average woman 1.8 years to find the perfect hairdresser.
Wow.
And 1 in 10 women, or 9%, believe distance to their hairdresser is a consideration when moving.
That's awesome.
Talk about building some value where that becomes such a major consideration.
No kidding.
We're talking about an outlier, so 9%, but that's still a sizable population size.
For sure.
American Salon also did their own study, and they surveyed hair and nail salons across the United States about why clients stop coming to a salon. And here's what they discovered, and these are ranked in order from least to most. So number 10 is location, which is something we've known for a long time. It's all about location, location, location.
Yeah.
Retail recommendations, or the lack thereof. Technical portion of their service, that they had no intention of rebooking, so it was for a one-off booking. Their shampoo bowl experience, they had to wait too long for the technician. Cleanliness, quality of the consultation, which is number 3. The front desk greeting is number 2. And number 1, client is bored with what you give them.
Yep. Oh, yeah. That's definitely the one.
Wow.
Which is kind of surprising when you think about it. Cleanliness of a salon ranked at number 4. But, that greeting at the front desk, whether someone is smiling and warm or wrapped up and not really engaging with you as you walk in the door, that's a major component in deciding to stay or leave from a salon to a surprising degree.
I believe in that. There's nothing more awkward than when you walk into a salon and there's the front desk there and you're just kind of like
sitting there. Where do I go?
Just like waiting to be greeted or acknowledged. And sometimes they're like on their phone or, they're on the computer. But, even that just quick little, hi, sorry, I'll be with you in just 1 minute, solves the complete problem if they're busy and stuff. But if it's not there, like sometimes we'll just be like, so how's it going? Like we'll be waiting for that greeting. And I get it. It's super important to have that welcoming feeling when you move into the salon. That's that first touch point that the customer gets. It kind of sets up the entire rest of their experience, really.
Yeah, especially when you walk into a new place that you haven't been there, and sometimes it could be a huge salons, and you kind of get lost when you walk in there. It's like, and I got to go to the bathroom, but I don't know where the bathroom is. So that front person is like the important person ever that welcomes that person, tells them about the salon, where everything is. So it makes that person feel very comfortable as they walk into that door. It's like it's it.
And it kind of goes to what we already know anyway, which is in anything, first impressions really, really matter. It's that first impression of a place, whether it's a restaurant, a new store, a salon, really anything that we do, people. It's always about that first impression. On average, 1 in 3 clients who walk in the door, you will retain. So these are new customers. Existing client retention rates is between 72% to 79%, depending on where in the country the salon is. And a 2017 Statistica study on the top factors that get clients to stay is good relationship, which is ranked at 60%, value for their money at 55%, being happy with the results, 53%, convenient location, 23%, and good reputation, 16%.
Good relationship. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
Which ties back in with... Oh, go ahead, Leo.
You gotta feel good when you're with with your stylist. It's really important because our customer is so nervous, and to try to build that bond, and it's like when you first go on a date, it's a little uncomfortable till you kind of get to know each other. It's the same thing with your hairstylist. You gotta kind of bond that energy, both of together.
Yeah, it's when you think about, because to a degree, it's really caregiving. And we go through, I think, the same emotional journey whenever we put ourselves in a space where we're being physically changed or looked at or critiqued by someone else. It doesn't matter if it's the dentist, a doctor, a masseuse, a hairdresser. So you already have this weird kind of awkwardness of having someone, do your hair and make a change, particularly if you're going in for a big hair change. Like the emotional roller coaster that most brides go through and finding the perfect hair and makeup and that whole thing. I've seen firsthand how that can be a really stressful situation between trying on different styles. If you're using hair extensions and you've never used them before, like it's a whole ordeal.
Yeah, they're very nervous. I've seen them firsthand when clients used to come in. You can see them; they're sweating, just sitting there, because it's a big change for them to be able to change a client's look. And sometimes they don't see the look. The hairdresser sees the look of what he's going to do, but they don't know. So they're as scared as you can be. Like I've seen clients shake, and you have to kind of really be very gentle and really get them all calmed down and give them some visual, and then then you get that conversation started.
Yeah, there's been some times where we've been in salons and sometimes depending on how receptive the owner is. Sometimes they're with a client, and we'll just kind of be like, hey, we'd love to, try this product out on your hair. And sometimes they're too freaked out to even do that. They're like, no, I only use this and I only use that. And like, they're just so nervous that something's going to go wrong or it's not going to work, that they just want to go in there and, they're so used to a certain experience. Sometimes they don't want to change anything because they've just had bad experiences in the past. So it's, it's kind of crazy. The nervousness sometimes.
It's no fun, Marco, getting a haircut that doesn't quite fit the customer.
Yeah,
it's sad that I've seen clients come in and crying that they got a new look and that it didn't suit them, it was like it's tough.
I've seen models after trade shows crying. Okay, so
sometimes, okay. I'll try to be good. Okay?
All right, perfect.
I won't go wild next time. I'll try to do more conservative.
That's a good thing. We get them to sign the model release form beforehand, right? Yeah.
When going back to that number one reason that clients don't stick with the salon, which is that the client is bored with what you give them. Yeah. Talking a little bit more about that, Leo, how do you keep things fresh with a client? Because even for me, at the salon that I've been going to now, I've been going to for a long time. And she'll still ask me every single time, even though I usually get the same haircut. She'll just reconfirm asking what I liked, what I didn't like, how I liked my hair. She'll ask me that every single time, and I've been seeing her for like 5 years now. So how do you have that conversation?
For me, what I found very successful with my customers that stayed with me forever is that constantly you got to give them new seeds every time that they're in. You ask them, how do they like, the haircut that we have been given or the color? That's the first thing. How did they, enjoyed it, and how easy it was, when they were doing the hair, because that's like really important to me, because I want that haircut to look really good, because it's an art piece that's going out there that's going to get me some more customers coming in. So I want to make sure that art piece is really beautiful, and be able to get the customer to feel very comfortable with changes, and that takes time. Mm-hmm. You got to show them a lot of picture.
Something that he used to do. This before social media. Back in the day when I was in the salon, my dad had stacks of hair magazines like this that just had all the different looks. It had celebrity hair stuff, and he would cut them out. He had a folder for all of his clients. It had, their color card on it, and it was all, handwritten. Most of it can be, now some. I mean, actually, I know, right? Okay. Yeah, so it had, the color formulation they got the last time and the look and stuff. And my dad would have 3 different looks cut out from a magazine, stapled on that card. So when they would come in, he'd spend 10 minutes before the client, 5 minutes before the client, picking out some looks that he thinks would look great on that certain client. And then he would show them, one short look, one medium look, and one long look, or different colors or pieces and stuff like that. And when they'd come in, he'd start, okay, well, here's what I think would look great. And could be, they could have hair down to here. It could be a pixie cut, and they'd be like, absolutely not, no chance, Leo. And then he would show them the medium look and be like, I think this would look really good, or an asymmetrical bob or whatever would look good on that client. It was always different, but not only did that kind of plant a seed for them, that maybe that one time they'll come in and they'll get the same look they've been getting for the last 2 years, or then the next time they'll come in, they'll be like, you know what, Leo, let's try something different. Let's try that look you showed me, or they'll see it on their favorite celebrity on TV or something like that, and they'll be like, you know what, maybe I will try that. And they kind of just plants that seed. And now in the age of social media, it's so much easier to do. Fast. I mean, you can have 3 looks on your phone before they sit down in your chair, and or search it right then and there and just show them, I think this would look good on you, I think that. And it kind of plants that seed. It also shows the customer that you've spent some time thinking about them before they're actually in your chair. You've been planning out how you want to see their look and thinking about it. It just gives that extra customer service and that that good relationship building as well. So.
It really made the client feel unbelievable, Marco. You know, especially when they come in, and you're ready for them. You know, that's the key. You know, is be ready for them and spend all that time with them. That is the most important part of, you know, keeping that customer happy and, you know, keeping that customer for a long time, and constantly it changes. And, you know, as the fashion moves, so as the hair moves with it. And
it also keeps you fresh.
Oh,
right.
Man,
It keeps you creative because you're not doing the same cookie cutter look over and over again. And it, you know, when I was working in his salons, 50% of the people that sat in his chair would say, "Do whatever you want, Leo."
Yeah.
And, you know, that doesn't happen nowadays. Now they come in with that picture and they show the hairdresser what they want, you know, and they would just say, "Do whatever you want, Leo. I trust you." And my dad would go, and people would leave with new colors and new looks and new haircuts every day.
But that's, Marco, it's building that relationship really at the beginning, really taking care of that customer. It takes about 3 haircuts. I found, you know, 3 different looks. And then it's like, and especially when the customer gets so many compliments from all their friends, then it's, you know, it's a done deal. And sometimes clients, they didn't recommend me because they figure, no way, Leo's going to be too busy.
It's already hard enough to get an appointment.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's funny.
But Ken, you know, keeping a customer a long time is changes, you know, or even suggestions. Sometimes they don't want to change, but you have to always recommend something new to them that they can leave with all the time.
And it can also be, you know, continuing to learn, continuing education as a hairdresser. Like, oh, you know, you can tell that person, "Oh, I went to this class, I learned this new haircut, I'd love to show it to you, I'd love to try it on you." You know, that type of stuff as well, to keep fresh and to keep going and keep that customer happy and moving with the trends is important for sure.
My clients didn't show up when they knew I was going to a show.
Oh, yeah.
Leo's going to be wild. No way.
Totally.
You know? It was fun.
Yeah, you know, to your point, Marco, thinking about that too, I think a lot of times we take the knowledge or skill sets that we gained for granted. I mean, Lord knows I've done that. But you know, if you go and learn a new technique, whether it's a new blowout technique or a new cut, or you learn extensions or some other kind of service, taking the time to tell clients that this is a new skill set that you have also plants the seed that, you know, this is something that I could do if you were interested. And then going back to what you were talking about, Leo, did you ever find too that there are customers that are just so resistant to change that you kind of have to ease them a little bit? So you meet them kind of halfway, almost like dipping their toe in the water, where you make a subtle change and then you make it a little more, particularly like if you're taking length. For someone who's had a lot of hair length, it's hard for themselves, I think, to make that big chop moment because it's so dramatic.
I found them. I took them in stages. You know, depends on the emotion where they are, because you know, if they're confident, you can give them a little bit more. You know, if they're very shy, you have to go very slowly. I always used to start, you know, with the fringe or you know the bangs to change them up. I didn't take much of the length because everybody is always scared about the length, and I always, you know, start in the front or break it up a little bit in the front. So I used to start very, very slow. And then, you know, they always used to come my way. I don't know why, but you know,
coincided with life changes, you know, in their life. A new job or, you know, divorce. All right, big change, you know, try something new. That's always a good way to try to get some new looks going.
It's just having a conversation with your customers, Ken. You know, that's the big one. And really listening to the customer is really important, you know, where they are emotionally, because it's connected. The hair, the look, it's connected. So you want to be able to balance that emotional look that they feel really good, you know, about themselves when they're walking out of that salon, you know, and have that little extra step and you know, be cheery and And, a lot of times I've had clients very depressed in the chair, and, I give them a nice shampoo and a nice haircut and a nice blow dry, and it changed the whole mood around. It's, oh, Leo, I think I'm going to go for a drink now. I feel much better, so it's that emotional, connection to that, haircut and that new looks all the time.
And I think too, what you were talking about, listening is such an incredibly useful skill to build towards, because partly I think, thankfully, double booking is slowly going away. When you're so focused on your schedule, who's next in your chair, what you have going on at home, like all of these things, sometimes, you can ask a question and you're going through the motions of the consultation, but you're not really listening to what they're saying or what they're not saying. A lot of times you can tell a lot from a client's body language or the way in which they evade a question, particularly if they're, not confident about a change, or they're kind of want to make a change, but they're not sure, or they were unhappy with something. Or even if it's not the cut that you did wrong, but maybe they don't know how to do something at home. Like, they love the blowout that you give them, but they always say the phrase, I can never do my hair like you, or I wish I had you at home. So many clients say that, but that's just a matter of, you as a stylist taking the time to teach them something like, let me show you how to do blow dry at home real quick, or, how to do this braid or something.
Yeah, I hate that, when the client says, oh, I can never do it this way. And it's like, okay, come on, girl, grab the brush. Here we go, And I used to have blow drying lessons in my salon because, it's really important to teach that customer. A lot of stylists don't do it. Teach the customer. I always did. I always showed them how to do it because it's really important for me.
You did more than just show them. You would let them do it in the chair to make sure that they got it before, he would let them leave, right? Instead of just telling them this is how you do it, he'd say, okay, grab the brush, and he'd show them. And that's how he sold so many brushes retail, and more product, right? Get it in there. But, that's important. And that the best hairdressers do that. They teach the client how to attain that look, whether it be with product or tools, and how to get it when they're not with them. So,
there's no reason now, with all the tools. I can see back in the days that, was more work, but now we got so many cool tools. You can really get that look, pretty good.
A few other interesting tidbits of facts for you. So 32% of customers will stop doing business they loved after just one bad experience.
Yeah.
And that's all it takes. According to a Nielsen study, 2/3 of consumers quit a salon simply because they didn't like the employees. And it's not that they hated them, it's just that they didn't feel anything towards them. I think so often we forget that just because this is a service business, this isn't a quick change lube place. It's you're a caregiver and you're doing so much more than just facilitating a service. You can certainly do that. And there are lots of value oriented salons that, focus on just a quick, cheap price and get you out the door. That take your money and, say goodbye, but you're not connecting with their heart. You're not being memorable. So you're just connecting with their hair, not their heart. Because of that, it's hard to build customer lifetime value or build a relationship and keep those people coming in when you're not taking the time to do that.
I want to touch on, when clients don't like the staff, Kenneth. The salon has to really group the team together that, if a client walks down the salon, everybody's got to say hi.
Yeah.
It's like a really joyful place to come in, and because we're close, we're not too far away from each other, you want to have a good relationship with everybody that's around you and make every customer feel really good, because sometimes if the stylist is sick and she needs a blow dry, normally it'd be the person next to you that you get a little relationship going on. Well, I'll try this person next time for a blow dry, right? So it's got to be a team. Everybody's got to be a team.
Keep the friendliest, most talkative, busiest stylist at the front of his salon. So when somebody's sitting in the waiting room, they're seeing that relationship, the way people are talking the most, and they have that friendliness going on. They're talking to them, saying hi. So, he would keep that near the front where the waiting area was, where people came in. So it shows you that initial flavor of that salon, really, and it gets people going. But building that, especially now, it's a tough one to do too, because so many salons now are chair renters, right? And they feel they're in their own little bubble. They don't need to talk to people outside of their client. It's their business. They don't want to do that. But it's important to just have a greeting, a hello, a smile even is good, especially walking that person to their chair and moving them in there and going through different people. You still want it to be friendly.
Yeah, and, it's a whole experience in the salon, from the front desk, through all the way through the salon till you get to the shampoo basin. It's got to be an amazing experience there, and then to the checkout, and then you got to do the follow-up and pick up the phone if you've given somebody an amazing balayage or an amazing makeover, that you phone that customer and say,
exactly,
how you doing, how's everything going. There's quite a dance that you got to do to keep that customer really happy and feeling very comfortable in your salon.
I think the journey starts even before they arrive, like they're booked. And I remember you used to have me call and do appointment reminders the night before. You'd call the customer and let them know and, confirm what they wanted. And what
Marco, you remember all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You're good.
You had me working so hard. I was like 14 years old,
man.
Just basically his assistant.
You're good, buddy. That's so nice. You remember all that stuff.
Of course.
Yeah, which actually brings us
No, I know, but still.
Yeah, that brings us to our next point. So talking about what makes for a great experience, that does start before they arrive. So, calling to confirm. What about new customers, Leo? In the instance of new customers, what are some of the things that happen before they even arrived at the salon?
Well, the first thing, like Marco said, we called them to make sure that, their appointments, that they're coming in at a certain time. The greeting coming in is important, but at the same time, I used to have a form sheet that they used to, check in. I used to ask them, who recommended that person, because we used to have a reward point system, so that client could get an award, a little points and discount afterwards, all that kind of stuff. And what kind of job did they do? And how often did they wash their hair? How many times did they blow dry their hair a weekend? Did they work out all the time? Do they have children's at home? And, how much time did they used to spend doing their hair, when they're at home? So that was kind of the first little segment when they used to come in. And, and then when they come in, you make sure that you offer them coffee, tea,
Yeah, that those questions that you were talking about are all amazing insights into their lifestyle and habits.
Yeah.
Particularly because when you start to think about recommendations or services that would be compatible with them, you want to make sure that the cut, the recommendations that you make are compatible with their lifestyle. Like if someone doesn't have a lot of time for their hair, you're probably not going to suggest hair extensions.
No.
Because they don't have time to detangle and everything else. So you're going to work within that framework.
That form, filling out the, some forms, I found that it was really helpful because you kind of get to know the customer right away, and the consultation kind of speeds up a little bit instead of, when they sit there and then you got to ask all those questions. But if they're already there, then already, how to start that conversation.
So now they've walked in the door. When it comes to the reception and retail area, what are some of the things that were kind of stellar things that you did in the salon to really make sure that that space was welcoming, or what their experiences was when it walked in the door?
I always, especially the reception area depends, I've had few small salon and I've had some big salon. The front reception area and the retail area, it was a showcase. Like we're talking, I used to change it all the time. I used to put a lot of salons. I found that they just line up products all the way through, and there's not even an ornament in the middle. There's not even a flower, it's just like bottle after bottle. And I didn't like that. So I used to make it very boutique.
Very retail, window, you had window displays and stuff with product. But from what I remember, the reception, what he used to tell me to do was not stay behind the desk. So don't just stand behind the desk and then point the person to the waiting area or there. He used to have me come around, take their coat, get them changed into a robe, ask them if they wanted anything, seat them, bring them to where things are. If they ask where the washroom is, don't just point and tell them. He would have me walk them to the bathroom. Here, let me show you, and take them back there. It was funny. He sent me a clip recently of Sebastian Maniscalco talking about a fancy salon he went to in Beverly Hills. And, the first time he went in there and they get him changed into a robe, and he's like, what's going on? This is weird. And then,
so good.
He's like, tries to go to the bathroom, and he says he finds himself back in the break room, and he's lost and he doesn't know where he's going. And, that's the type of things that happen. And people are in a salon for the first time, take them, show them where the bathroom is, show them, take them to the waiting area and seat them, as opposed to just sitting behind that counter. It just gives more of a service feel to it. But that was a big one. Always had the counter clean, super cleanly. The stocked shelves as well were important. Don't let it look like the shelves are depleted. Keeping them stocked was an important one as well.
Keeping them clean too, keeping those shelves
dusting,
dusty, yeah.
It's really, I did not like, because if a client, let's say, sometimes you do get behind and the client is sitting there and having a tea, and she'll start looking around, and you'll see hair in a corner. It's kind of gross, to be honest. So it's got to be really clean. The salon has to be spotless. Doesn't matter what kind of decor you got going on. Nothing replaces it being the salon really spotless. It's important.
Yeah. What about so now we bring them to the chair. What for you makes for a great consultation? So questions that you asked, or things that you were really looking for with a new client, particularly.
What I like, when I had the big spa, I used to not get the client to sit in an area where it's just face to face. I did not like it. Sometimes you sit in the chair and you're talking through the mirror. I want to sit with my client face to face, get an interaction going and make her feel really comfortable, because there's a connection, a lot closer connection right away. And I find that's the most important. Listening, I can't say enough of it to that client. You got to really listen what she's got to say.
What questions would you ask them?
The question I would ask them is, to me, was like, how long have you had this haircut?
Yep.
That would be the first thing that I would ask. And that already, if you say, oh, I've had this for a few years, then I'm thinking, okay, she hasn't changed much. Mm-hmm. Then I would go from there, and then I look at the cheekbones, I look at the, how she dresses, how tall she is, and, start working with that.
I think profession is important too. Find out, whether they're wearing their hair in a ponytail every day, or, it's up or it's down, or how many times they're heat styling it, or how long they have in the morning to style their hair. Certain things like that are important. Personality is a big one. I think that's sometimes I remember I used this when we were at doing a hair show up in Prince George in BC once, and we had just did a model call on social media, and we had this lady come in, and my dad gave her a really super edgy, funky cut, and it looked awesome, but it didn't fit the lady's personality. She was a quiet introvert that worked as a dental assistant, and it wasn't this like rocky, edgy punk cut that she had, and she was so upset. And but that was for a show, right? So we were doing something a little extra and crazy. But I think it's also important to find those questions out in the salon daily, because you want to give that person a look that fits who they are and the personality that they have, and something that they feel comfortable in, expressing themselves with their hair.
It's got to feel comfortable out of the go. If they not feel comfortable with it, it will get better maybe. But if they don't feel good already, there's that energy that she's going to be back and she doesn't like it. So it's got to feel really good, when you do make that new look for them. And, that consultation has got to be on spot.
Yeah, I think under promising and over delivering is a really important point too. Particularly because in this day and age, between TikTok and social media, and there are some insane expectations put on stylists. And usually every year, the start of blonde season, I always see the same photo where it's like, if you want to be this, you have to be that before you can be this, or else you'll look like this.
Totally. Yeah, it's so true. And sometimes, you'll see pictures as well from different areas of the world. So this is a big one that's happening recently that we've actually noticed, is people are showing pictures from, different parts like the Ukraine or Russia, where they're actually allowed to use different chemicals than they can be in hair color or bleach in North America or Canada and the US. So you can't achieve what they're doing over there with the product that we're using here. Yes. It's just not possible. And trying to explain that to people sometimes is difficult. And then other times it's just like, that's a wig, or that's Photoshop, and that's, this is lighting. They took the first picture inside and then went outside and brought the ring lights. And, it's a lot of those expectations need to be tempered. And that's what a good stylist does. They won't say, oh yeah, we can get there. And then you take them there and it's not there. And, we were actually in Catherine, our artistic team leader's salon. This is where she told me this was happening. A lady came in with a picture of a famous hairdresser in, I think it was Iran or something like that, and wanted to get this look. And Catherine was trying to explain to her that it just is not possible with the hair that you have. It's just not possible. Your hair will fall off if we try to get you there. And, she didn't understand that the picture of the person's before was the same as hers, and the after was, this look, but it just wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't work with her. And, she could have said, sure, I'll try and we'll get you in there. And then they wouldn't get to the look. And then that customer is disappointed, and they're going to tell 5 friends that they didn't get the look they wanted at the salon. So under promising over delivering is a big one. Temper those expectations, and, you're the expert. Make sure you tell them that and let them know that it's just sometimes things aren't possible.
You got to be straight with them, and if you can't do it, if you in your mind you think that's not going to happen, don't do it. Mm-hmm. Because
or like once a week I will see people cutting with fire.
Yeah.
Because that's a huge thing in India, where they'll actually like set your hair on fire to seal the cuticle. That's not something you can do over here.
No, I can imagine the smell too.
Gross. It'd be fun for a show.
Yeah, he's wanted to do the one with the axe for the shows. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one where the guys with the hatchet
on the board.
Totally. There's also another guy who's like Edward Scissorhands. He has he's blades on his fingers, and you should see him, Leo. He's going like this, and the hair's flying.
It's fun doing that stuff, Yeah. It's just,
it's for social media.
Yeah, it's just fun.
Yeah.
Handwritten notes, personal calls, I think are still really good to do. Just that little touch of personality. Showcasing the space like we talked about. Customer databases are so important. Particularly because when customers give you information, you can't retain that. It's really helpful, particularly if you know a customer, because they're not going to remember. They'll say, do you remember when I did this like 6 months ago? And you're like, oh yeah, sure. And you have no idea. If having a reference point, or if a customer tells you something about something they're going on, if you know that they're pregnant, that or hormonal imbalances, chemotherapy, all of which are things that can impact hair. Those are things that you want to know so you can help coach the client through that. Rewards programs. 80% of your revenue always comes from your top 20%. So yeah, having rewards programs too, like you were talking about, Leo, getting them signed up for them is really important.
Yeah, referral programs are a big one for my dad. He would give referrals, product purchase points rewards. So spend a certain amount, then you get, 20% off your next order, or certain stuff like that was always big.
You know that you're going to have that client for a long time. If you do a good job and you have good personality and you care about that customer, she's going to stay for you for a long time. Like you said, what is it, 13 years?
12.4,
that's a long time. Yeah. So, you have to make it interesting when they come back, and, you kind of have to, have some fun with them. So rewards it's really excellent. A gift with purchase, I'm all in with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, new customer packages as well are a big one. If you have a new customer, something Catherine does is she would have a little gift bag with samples of the products that they offer on the shelf. And every new customer would come in, they get a little Invisibobble and some sachet samples and a little card saying thank you. So any new customer would get that, and it just gets them trying product. It makes them feel like they're getting something for joining this nice salon. So,
just doing that little extra, sometimes stylists would think, oh my God, I got to do these packs and I got to do this. That's what's going to make you so much different and so unique. And, that longevity of that customer is that 10, 15 minutes that would take you to put something together, after work, or even that 1 hour, it'll turn into, huge income, at the end of the year. So, that's really important.
So I have a big question and a discussion point for us then, because we've seen it in so many salons. I've seen it in salons. I've been a customer in a salon. How do you deal with body language, or when a stylist is in a negative headspace? And that could be through things going on personally. It could be going through depression. Conflict in the salon is a huge one. Even in the forums, we see so many salon owners talking about challenges that they have in the salon where stylists are fighting, and they kind of bring that vibe into the workplace. And it affects everything, particularly from a customer standpoint, because you can sense that tension. You can see comments being made, or dirty looks, or how do you manage that, Leo?
Well, with me, I always, when we have staff meeting, that's the team building situation that we got to take care of each other. And, I used to tell my staff, if you're not feeling good that day, please tell us that we know that you're not feeling good or something has happened. Instead of you coming in and you're not feeling well, and that you're carrying that energy all through the salon, and you pick it up.
Oh, yeah.
And before you know, an hour later, the whole salon is in an uproar. Mm-hmm. And by communicating, and first of all, I used to tell them, you come straight to me. If you're not feeling well, if something's going on, you come to me. We'll discuss it for 10, 15 minutes and see if you can go on with the day, or if I could be able to change that energy for you. And normally, we always used to work it out. And because once you start working, and start creating, you'll forget. For me, once I started doing hair, it was Zen. So I used to forget about everything else,
Sometimes the clients actually perk you up.
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
your therapy. They come in, and if you're having a rough day, those customers are the ones. But for me, it's to not be afraid to get rid of the rotten fruit. If there's a stylist in that salon who's
a good one, Mark.
Just negative and has a different attitude, and you can see them kind of poisoning the other hairdressers, you've got to nip that in the bud quick. You've got to get rid of that person, whether they're the busiest person in the salon or not. They're going to affect everybody else's service, everybody else's work. They're going to affect the experience of the other customers in the salon because, it could just be a negative atmosphere. For me, and, it's like that's in any business, really. You've got to get rid of that negative fruit because a rotten piece of fruit's going to just make everything around it rotten. So, that's a big one. Don't be afraid to find different staff. If there's somebody that's kind of the common denominator over a period of time that you're noticing, find somebody new.
And, communicating with your staff in regular meetings, that really is, I found it really important. Twice a month, at least, once a month, you got to have staff meeting and you got to really talk about this stuff. Sometimes, owners get a little afraid they're going to lose staff. Don't be like that. Just communicate and be honest with your staff, and you'll be surprised how the energy is really changes, and you'll have more positive staff if you have regular meetings and discuss things and be able to put some. I used to put different stuff in the staff room, more cheery, sayings in the staff room that is very helpful. That's really important as well. So you kind of, as much as you want the staff to be cheery and exciting and creative, the owner's got to be super excited, super creative. You always have to be one step, ahead to be able to, give your staff all the tools that they need to be really happy when they're doing that work.
And he used to do lots of excursions. So you take the whole staff to trade shows once a year and
team building,
do lots of team building stuff.
It was fun.
They would have, education nights in the salon once a month where he would do new haircuts and everybody would come in after hours and have a few bottles of Prosecco and, just kind of create and turn the music up loud and have a party and have fun in the salon. Stuff like that just kind of makes the salon become more of a family. Even, he had chair renters and he had, commission-based stylists as well, but everybody came together, and that's an important one as well. Cause, lots of chair renters and, we hear from salon owners, oh, it's hard. I don't have any control over the chair renters or what they do, and they're their own thing. Well, you can work that into the contract. You can say, if you want to be a chair renter, no problem, but you have to attend monthly meetings. You have to attend this, and you can work that in so that person can still be a part of the team, even though they're chair renters.
Oh, for sure, Marco. That was my main thing. Yeah. We're all under one roof, and we want to be happy. Yeah. Happiness, it's where it's at, because happiness will give you creativity, will give you everything you want when you're happy. It's just that, beautiful thing.
Yeah. Empowering people too. Particularly other stylists, in the same way that we empower customers, being an authority. Really knowing hair, knowing what you're talking about. Clients pick up on that. When you're unsure about a decision that you're making, or you're unsure how to achieve something, we pick it up.
Totally.
It's that touch, Ken. When you touch the client, I could feel the client. If, I was cutting 1/8 of an inch too much, I could feel it, the hair would stand up.
Yeah, they start to get taller in the chair so you don't go so high. Totally.
So it's like, that you're touching somebody. It just got to feel good.
And also, I think too, that experience is also about working smarter, not harder. It reminds me of the story of the two lumberjacks, both of them working on a pile of lumber, with one of them cutting away, with the other one just kept stopping to the point that the other one was annoyed. And at the end of the day, the second lumberjack had 3 times as much wood cut. So the first one asks him, well, how did you achieve this? You kept taking breaks. And the second one says, oh, I wasn't resting. I was sharpening my saw in between cuts. It's a great metaphor for not confusing activity or the number of people in your chair with success and delivering a great experience.
Totally.
Any last thoughts on customer experience, Leo, before we round out with an interesting bit of hair history?
Marco?
For me, it's be present. Be present with that stylist. Give them everything you've got for that 45 minutes, an hour, or, color services even longer. They're choosing to spend that time of their life with you and paying for a service. Be present. Form that connection, form that bond. If the stats are right, you're going to be with that person for 12 years, putting in a little extra time for them to keep them around is worth it, in my opinion.
To me, as client, they spend a lot of money. Each client, sometimes, they think, it's a $50 haircut. I see that client as $1,000 haircut, and they spend a lot of money a year. They spend a lot of money. And I want to make sure that I give the best service that I know how, and love them just like you want to be loved yourself. If you go inside your heart and you know that you're a lovable person, project that love to them, and it's done. It's like the relationship is built. Everything is beautiful once you're coming from, the good place.
I still get requests for my dad. It's been almost 6 years now that he hasn't been behind the chair when we've been promoting the salon or the hair products. And I still get people that are reaching out like, please, I'll do anything. How can I get a haircut from Leo? I haven't had a haircut from like him. And, somebody offered him like $300 the other day. Please, I'll do it in the parking lot if I have to. I'm sorry, I can't. So, but that's a lot of relationship. And he's still got some people that, you had been clients for 30 years, 35 years, and it's seen him grow, and they've grown, and that's a really cool thing. There's not many other industries where that happens.
It's it was hard when I quit being behind the chair. I think that was the hardest thing I ever did in my entire career. And I never cried so much in my entire life because clients were hugging you and starting crying. And it's like, this is the last haircut you're going to give me. That was emotional. I think I was depressed for a period of time, because going to work for me, it was so beautiful. The music goes on the first thing in the morning, and I used to get all the bar ready, all the towels ready. I sweep up the floor before anybody even came to inside the salon. So it was beautiful. And then not to have that and replace it with something else, there was quite an adjustment, and missing the client was big. So love your customers like you would love yourself. That's, it's the big thing.
I think too, remembering and reminding yourself on a daily basis, an affirmation of why you chose this industry. Like, you could do anything you want in life, but and so often, any classes that I've done where you ask the simple question, how did you get into the industry? People always have a really deeply personal answer to that, a reason that they chose this industry, and, to be that person for other people, to make them feel beautiful in a way that sometimes we don't, to give them the love that sometimes we wish we had. There's a continuity and a synergy in being able to give people what I think sometimes we struggle to give ourselves. But in seeing their reaction, that smile, that that bride who looks at herself for the first time in the mirror and is tearful at how beautiful she's going to look, or that woman who's been going through depression or divorce or some major change in her life, and she looks in the mirror and she feels great about herself, and she hits that sidewalk on a high. That's a really powerful thing.
It's just can you hit it, and especially in these times that we're going through, people just need a little extra care and a little extra love and that extra patience. It's really important these days. I feel the salon is the de-stress zone, these days.
Talking about which as a good segue into our little hair history bit here, And I want to tell you an interesting story that connects to what our episode today is about. And it starts with a woman who had a major impact on our entire industry. And it started on one particular day when she asked one particular question. Every day we take what this woman invented for granted, and modern hairdressing was shaped by her. But chances are you've never even heard her name. Born in 1922, Rose Canan's early life is the stuff of legend. Before she became hairdressing loyalty, she was born in Germany, as a Jew at a time when that was incredibly dangerous. She was one of the last children to go on the famous Kindertransport that helped children escape from Nazi Germany. After arriving in England, she then had to endure the London Blitz. However, all was not darkness and despair. She met and married hairdresser Albert Evansky on Valentine's Day, 1943, and following the end of World War II, they opened Evansky's in Mayfair. By the time the 1960s rolled around, Mayfair was the place to be for hair. And there was two things that she hated. She hated the bulbous overhead hairdressers that looked like a rocket ship, and the really straightened, tightly permed hairstyles. So one Wednesday in 1962, she was strolling past a barber shop in Brook Street and saw a barber drying the front of a man's hair with a brush and a handheld dryer. And the image struck her, and she thought, why can't I finish or shape women's hair that way? So that following Friday, she found herself a willing client who put her trust in her and began experimenting. And as fate would have it, Lady Claire Rendlesham, who was editor of Vogue magazine and later champion of 1960s style setters, walked in off the street and shouted at the top of her lungs, "What are you doing, Rose?" She then ran out of the salon. And Rose at this point figured her career was over because she knew exactly who the woman was. But later, she was incredibly confused when Lady Claire came back with Barbara Griggs of the Evening Standard newspaper. She then ran out into the street and started bringing in people off the street to watch what she was doing. And by the next day, the new blow wave technique was on the front page of every newspaper in the city, and Rose was the talk of the town. Her husband, Albert, however, wasn't so pleased. Because he had just purchased 20 new hood dryers.
Oh, boy. Of course.
Her legacy went beyond the technique that she invented. It was Rose who inspired and taught Nigel Davies and even the legendary Leonard Lewis, who was a.k.a. Leonard of Mayfair, who in turn trained John Frieda, Nikki Clark, Daniel Galvin. Not one for the spotlight, however, she retired from hairdressing and vanished from the scene, and retired to the English coastline where she passed away in 2016. The lesson to all of this, of course, is to never stop thinking of new ways to dazzle a client behind a chair. It could end up changing not just her entire day, but your life.
Love it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Never stop learning.
Nope. And final thoughts with everyone before we head off here.
No, I think I'm good. That was awesome. That story nailed it, Ken. I think just,
that was,
keep creating, keep asking questions, and keep moving forward.
Yeah. Creativity. I love it. And keep changing all the time. That's, the key to success is keep moving and keep always bettering that art.
And I guess I would say never make assumptions on any client. Doesn't matter how long you've known them. Always keep asking questions. Mm-hmm. And that's it for this episode.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank
Ken.
you so much, everybody. Thanks, Ken.
Take care, everybody.